Gopijana Balaba Girivari Hari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Girivari Hari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Ramadava Kunja Bihari Jaya Ramadava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Srila Prabhupada ki Oh Premananda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Uttamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriye. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Vistara Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivasi Sasunyavadi Pasitavadi Sutani So this is text 16, chapter 7, canto 2, scheduled incarnations. Shrutva Haris Tam Haranartinam Aprameyas Shrutva Haris Tam Haranartinam Aprameyas
Shrutva harisam aranatam aprameyas
Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiradha Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadirarudaha Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiraha Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmad Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmad Chakrena Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmad Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara. Can you turn another light on? I'm going to enjoy this. Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara. Thank you. Te Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara Shrutva Haris Tam Haranatinam Aprameyas Shrutva Haris Tam Haranatinam Aprameyas Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmad Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmad Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara Shrutva Haristam Anartinam Aprameyas Shrutva Haristam Anartinam Aprameyas Chakra Yuda Patagara. That word is giving me a hard time. Chakra Yuda Patagaru Raja Bhujadiruda Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujita Chakrena Nakra Vadana Vinipatya Tasmad
Chakrena Nakra Vadana Vinipatya Tasmad
Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara
Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara
Shrutva Haristam Aranatinam Aprameyas Shrutva Haristam Aranatinam Aprameyas Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda Chakrena Nakra Vadana Vinipatya Tasmad Chakrena Nakra Vadana Vinipatya Tasmad Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara
Dashte Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayo Jahara.
Someone else?
Shrutva Haristam Adanatinam Aprameyas Shrutva Haristam Adanatam Aprameyas Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda
Chakra Yuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda
Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmat
Chakrena Nakra Vadana Vinipatya Tasmat
Daste
Taste Pragya Bhagavan Kripayojana.
Shrutva Haristam Aranartinam Apameya Shatvayuda Patagaraja Bhujari Pujadirudha Chakrena Nakra Vadanam Vinipatya Tasmat Daste Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayojara
Shrutvari Samanatamapameya Chakrayuda Patagaraja Bhujadiruda Chakrena Nakra Vadanamini Patya Tasmat Daste Prigaya Bhagavan Kripajohara
Shrutva Haristamaranathamaprameya Chakrayuddha Patagaraja Bhujadiruddha Chakrena Nakravadanam Vinipatya Tasmat Daste Pragriya Bhagavan Kripayojahara
Okay, all right. So word for word. Shrutva, by hearing. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Tam, him. Arana, Artinam, one who is in need of help. Aprameya, the unlimitedly powerful Lord. Chakra, wheel. Ayuda, equipped with his weapon. Patagad Raja, the king of the birds. And he is Garuda. Ruja Aridi Ruda, being seated on the wings of. Chakrena, by the wheel. Nakravadanam, the mouth of the crocodile. Vinipatya, cutting in two. Tasmat, from the mouth of the crocodile. Hashte, in the hands. Pragriya, taking hold of the trunk. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Kripaya, out of causeless mercy. Ujahara, delivered him. So, translation. The personality of Godhead, after hearing the elephant's plea, felt that the elephant needed his immediate help, for he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of birds, Garuda, fully equipped with his weapon, the wheel, Chakra. With the wheel, he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile to save the elephant, and he delivered the elephant by lifting him by his trunk. So please repeat. The personality of Godhead. After hearing the elephant's plea. Felt that the elephant needed his immediate help. For he was in great distress. Thus at once the Lord appeared there on the wings of the king of the birds, Garuda.
On the wings of the king of the birds, Garuda.
Fully equipped with his weapon,
Fully equipped with his weapon,
the wheel, chakra.
the wheel chakra.
With the wheel,
With the wheel,
he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile
he cut to pieces the mouth of the crocodile
to save the elephant.
to save the elephant.
And he delivered the elephant
And he delivered the elephant
by lifting him
by lifting him
by his trunk.
by his trunk.
You know what sounds the wings of when Garuda's wings are flapping? You know what the sound is? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Hare. It is the Vedas, though, because it's the Hare Krishna mantra is the song of the Vedas. So she was right, but it says, I can't remember where it was, but it says that the sound when his wings are flapping, you hear Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. It's sweet. Everything is sweet. Everything about this, there's so many things in that verse. Anyway, so here's the purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
The Lord resides in His Vaikuntha planet. No one can estimate how far away this planet is situated. It is said, however, that anyone trying to reach that planet by airships or by mine ships, traveling for millions of years, will find it still unknown. Modern scientists have invented airships which are material, and the yogis make a still finer material attempt to travel by mine ships. The yogis can reach any distant place very quickly with the help of mine ships, but neither the airship nor the mine ship has access to the kingdom of God in the Vaikuntha Loka, situated far beyond the material sky. Since this is the situation, how was it possible for the prayers of the elephant to be heard from such an unlimitedly distant place? And how could the Lord at once appear on the spot? These things cannot be calculated by human imagination. All this was possible by the unlimited power of the Lord, and therefore the Lord is described here as aprameya, for not even the best human brain can estimate his powers and potencies by mathematical calculation. The Lord can hear from such a distant place, He can eat from there, and He can appear simultaneously in all places at a moment's notice. Such is the omnipotency of the Lord. I just want to read something. Do you know who's speaking? Do you remember who's speaking here? This is Lord Brahma talking to Narada Muni. And at the end of the last chapter, Lord Brahma said, O Narada, now I shall state, one after another, the transcendental incarnations of the Lord, known as Leela avatars. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart. That's Lord Brahma speaking to Narada Muni.
Therefore, they are in
My heart.
Oh, thank you.
And so through the ear goes into the heart, cleanses. So this transcendental sound vibration, these I heard it described that the books, the Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Bhagavad Gita, is where the temporal meets the eternal. Because this is apparently material energy, and the sound vibration is the eternal sound vibration, the glorification, non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which according to Lord Brahma, it pleases his heart and it cleanses his ears from all the foul matters that we have to tolerate, or we allow ourselves to lend our ears. You know, friends, Romans, lend me your ears. Well, don't lend your ears to the wrong thing. Lend your ears to the transcendental sound vibration and the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God. These are not fairy tales. These are not some fictitious story. This is history. And what's even more interesting, and I don't understand the timeline exactly, But Lord Brahma is telling these things before they happen. I mean, it could be that in some cases, I don't know how it works, whether this is a second day or a third day of Brahma, and some of these already happened in the previous day, or how it's working like that. But all of this is happening. As far as we understand, Narada Muni is asking Lord Brahma, after being created, he's noticing, the only person he sees is Lord Brahma, but he notices that Lord Brahma is performing penances and austerities and meditating on someone else. So he's asking him, are you the ultimate? Are you the supreme person? Are you the supreme creator? And he's saying, no, and let me tell you about it. And then he goes on to describe the Rupa and how all the material energy is working, and how he was just given this opportunity to apparently create by manipulating the Lord's energies that the Lord has provided. Now he's describing the actual incarnations or pastimes of the Supreme Lord, when he appears and why he appears all throughout the various cycles of the kalpas. So, in this particular story, Gajendra is the king of elephants, and he was in a location where the name of the mountain, there's a mountain in the ocean of milk. Now also, one thing is the ocean of milk, the waves of the ocean of milk produce emeralds. And this particular place that Gajendra was residing was at the foot of the Trikuti mountain. Trikuti mountain has 3 peaks: iron, silver, and gold. But it has some smaller peaks that are all made of emeralds, rubies, various gems. And the effulgence from those metals and gems on the sky creates a very beautiful sight. You know, it's extremely colorful, it's extremely soothing, very attractive. And the sound vibration in this place, it is a sporting grounds in the ocean of milk for the demigods. And so there's all types of very beautiful flowers with incredible fragrances, and the sounds of the various birds singing is very pleasing to the ear. The whole atmosphere is very conducive to either material sense gratification or for cultivating your spiritual life. But it's difficult in that kind of an atmosphere. The lake and the gardens was created by Varuna. And so Gajendra goes into this lake and begins to bathe with his family. And everyone steps aside when they hear him coming, because he's a very powerful, he's the king of all of the other animals. All the lions and the other very fierce animals, the big serpents, and I think there was tigers they mentioned, all these other animals. One of them, I didn't know the name of it, but I was just thinking that maybe it's something like a rhinoceros or something. But all these big, powerful animals, they step aside, and therefore all the smaller animals are feeling safe because of the elephant's presence. But they also don't stand in front of him directly. They give him his space. So now he's in the river, the lake, and they're enjoying and bathing, and he's squirting water from his trunk onto his family, but he's creating a disturbance in the lake. And so the king of the lake, the aquatics, this crocodile, he comes and says, "You're in my place now." And he grabs hold of his foot. And so there's a great struggle that goes on between the two of them. And the thing is that Prabhupada uses this to explain in some of there's the purports, I believe it's in the 8th canto. There's some really nice purports. I'll just try to remember them if I can't find them. Where he's describing, and we all know this is a classic story, where Prabhupada says that the crocodile is in his element, and therefore he's getting stronger as the time goes by. It's taking 1,000 years for the struggle. But the elephant is getting weaker because he's not in the correct atmosphere. And so Prabhupada uses this as an example to describe when someone may prematurely take to the sannyasa ashram, or if someone's in the brahmacharya ashram and it's not suitable for him, then there's license for him to be in the grahastha ashram. Prabhupada says that if the members of this ISKCON, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we are a spiritual army, and we have declared war on this materialistic civilization. So we're doing battle, and there's lots of threats to our spiritual lives, internally and externally. And one must be when you're doing battle or doing any project that's requiring all of your attention, all of your mental clarity and physical stamina. One should be in the proper environment for that person. You shouldn't feel like you're out of sorts, if you want to put it like that. So he's saying here that in this case, and this was after a lot of his senior men had left the sannyas ashram, so he's trying to encourage them not to give up and not to feel like they failed, but at the same time trying to also warn anyone else who's feeling, in those days it was a big push to become a sannyasi in the movement. And so it wasn't necessarily the right thing for everybody, as we can see. And so, that he uses this as an example for that particular problem that we were facing. But it's true anyway. So after a great struggle, a tremendous struggle is going on, and finally, at one point, the elephant begins to remember something. Something stirs internally, and Paramatma is reminding him of his past life. He doesn't remember it exactly. This is not like a Bharat Maharaj story. This is not where he had a problem and then he could remember his past life while in the form of the deer. Gajendra was Indradumya in his past life, and he was a very pious king. And he was engaged in meditation on the Supreme Lord, silent meditation. And this Muni, great sage, Agastya Muni, came to his ashram, and he felt that Indradumya didn't receive him properly. And because that's also a very important point, is that when Prabhupada has taught us that if even if you're engaged in the worship in the temple, if a Vaishnava comes, you're supposed to greet that person, greet that Vaishnava, and make them feel at home, even if it means you have to stop your worship. Of course, that's all a question of time, place, and circumstance. So, in this case, Indradumya wasn't doing it purposely. He was, I think, it indicates that he wasn't even aware of Agastya Muni's presence. But so Agastya Muni, he gives him a blessing curse, and that is that he's going to take birth in a dumb animal body and not have any remembrance, just be in complete ignorance. And, I've been meditating on this point that how much ignorance is it's such a severe condition to be in when you're completely in ignorance and you have no knowledge. Like, I've watched this one cat, and it sounds mundane, but it's not, because I've learned something from it. I've watched how he had a sibling, a child, and that child then vanished. It wasn't vanished, it was taken away by the Humane Society and not brought back. And you can see he has no idea where this child went. He has no understanding, and there's no way to describe it to him. There's great pain in his face. He's completely in ignorance, though. There's no way to describe that to him. He has no idea what is life, what is his situation, what he is, where he came from, and where he's going. And basically, in these purports, Prabhupada describes that unless one is using the human form of life to understand those points, you're an animal. We are animals. Actually, the king of the animals, the crown of creation of the animals, the evolutionary cycle. So, with Vipada Pasus, two-legged animals. So, when we're in ignorance, in other words, giving this Krishna consciousness and giving the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita and the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Hare Krishna mantra and the Prasadam and the deities, giving all these things, that type of association to the Dvipada Pasus, who are innocent, is the highest form of welfare. This is the most important thing. You can feed someone's stomach, and you can't preach to someone who's hungry, but you can feed someone. But if they have no knowledge of what is this life and what is the purpose of this life, they will always remain in ignorance, and they will continue in that ignorance, lifetime after lifetime. And it's really, when you look at it and you see how much suffering there is, how much pain these people experience, we experience, because we're in ignorance still. It's being uncovered. So here, from within, Paramatma is reminding him that he had learned a mantra. And this mantra is like, about 16 verses, I think. Really nice, beautiful descriptions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the non-difference between the sound vibration of the Lord's pastimes and his names. And it's a very beautiful and intelligent prayer from a very learned, in other words, this person who memorized this obviously had great intelligence and had very good teachers and very good education in spiritual matters. And so this Gajendra, as Indradumya, had learned this mantra, but had completely forgotten until this moment when Paramatma stirred, when he was in such distress, he stirred his memory, and he begins to chant the mantra. He takes a lotus flower and lifts up his trunk and is offering it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is vibrating this prayer. And so when I was reading this, I was thinking, for us, in Kali Yuga, it's kind of like, we don't have to necessarily learn such a long and detailed prayer or mantra, but all we have to know is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So you could say it's like salvation for dummies. Like they say, whatever, computer technology for dummies or whatever. You see all these things for dummies. Well, this is salvation for dummies. You just have to learn the Hare Krishna mantra, practice chanting it, and if somehow or other you end up down the road, all you have to do is remember that. And what's more interesting is there's so many things here that I find, because it shows you that there's no black and white, there's no cookie cutter situation. When you see Bharat Maharaj's situation, he remembers his past, and he knows he's in a deer's body. He knows why this has happened. And then he just wants to take the prasadam and get on to the next thing, and then play dumb and get out. So, whereas Indradumya, he's cursed, and he doesn't have any memory until that moment. And then that is Paramatma, that is Krishna's mercy. Why all of a sudden now Krishna is giving it to him? And because this was part of the blessing, that he would be liberated. Agastya Muni's curse was that he would be in this situation, and then he would be liberated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then go back to Vaikuntha. When the Lord appears, he cuts the head, the mouth of the crocodile. And now the crocodile is also somebody. I mean, he's not just a crocodile. And of course, we're not just, in this case, he was a Gandharva in his past life. He was the king of the Gandharvas, and his name is spelled H-U-H-U. I believe you pronounce it Hu-Hu. And he was cursed also. And does anybody remember why?
He was a king.
He was a king?
King Hu-Hu.
Yeah, King Hu-Hu. But he was also cursed. And I know what it is. He was in a river.
He was enjoying.
And he was enjoying with some women, and he was touching the leg of Devala Rishi, and it was annoying him. So he cursed him to take birth as a crocodile. And he's saying, no, please, no, I'm sorry, no, that's all right. I'm telling you, this is a blessing as well. You will take birth as a crocodile, and when Gajendra, the king of the elephants, is liberated by the Supreme Lord, you will come back, you will get your Gandharva body back, and you'll have full memory of all this, and you'll get the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You will see Lord Narayan come from Vaikuntha to save Gajendra, and you will see Gajendra and Garuda. You will see them all ascend to the spiritual world, and Gajendra then is transformed into he gets the Sayuja, or Sayuja, the same form as the Lord. Sarupya. He gets the Sarupya liberation, the same form as the Lord. It goes back to Vaikuntha. And you will witness all that. And by the way, anyone who wakes up in the morning and meditates on this pastime, and it lists all the different things that you could... I was thinking it'd be best to just get the picture and put it right where you're going to see. First thing in the morning. Where is that? It's the end of one of these chapters. Yeah. So, it's done. I'm going to just bear with me because it's actually... You meditate on this. But it's hard for me to... I've read a lot of things like this. When you first wake up and as you put your foot down for the first time, you should say a prayer to Mother Bhumi. I just try to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. I'm not seeing it. It's the end of, which was it here? So, but anyway, if you meditate on Gajendra offering the lotus flower, here it is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of night, early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form, your form, which is Gajendra, or in his Vaikuntha form, this lake, this mountain, which is the Trikuta mountain with the 3 peaks, iron, silver, gold, and the smaller peaks of emeralds, all the valuable precious stones. The caves, and in the caves were nice residence or playgrounds for the demigods and the goddesses. The caves, the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees, the residential quarters of me, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the 3 peaks of Trikuta mountain made of gold, silver, and iron, my very pleasing abode, the ocean of milk. And that's another thing. That there's 7 oceans. There's the ocean of milk. I can remember 6. I can't remember the 7th thing. It's the ocean of milk, the ocean of ghee, the ocean of clear fresh water, the ocean of salt water, the ocean of oil, liquor, and what was I remembered liquor, but what's the next one? Honey, right, and an ocean of honey. Can you imagine these materialists if we told them there's an ocean of oil?
No, they want to get there.
Well, they would be happy.
That would create a lot of, come on, you gotta tell us something.
Where is it?
Where is it? So, my pleasing abode, the ocean of milk, the white island, Sweta Dweep, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays. My mark of Srivatsa, the Kushtuba gem, my Vajanti garland, my club, Kamodeki, the Sudashan disc, and Panchanjanya conch shell, my bearer, Garuda, the king of the birds, my bed, Sesha, Naga, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma, Narada Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlad, my incarnations, like Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha, my unlimited, all auspicious activities, which yield piety to he who hears them, the sun, moon, fire, the mantra, Omkar, the absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows and brahmanas, devotional service, wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are the daughters of King Daksha, rivers, Ganges, Saraswati, Nanda, and Jamuna, Kalindi, the elephant, Aravata, Dhruva Maharaj, the seven rishis, and the pious human beings. My devotees, dear devotees, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me prayers offered by you, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives.
Haribo!
It also says that you get all kinds of other benedictions as well. All sins are removed and cleansed. And this is the other one. That anyone who has trouble in the morning from bad dreams, if you hear this pastime, you will never be troubled by bad dreams. Let's see. I now describe this wonderful power of Krishna displayed when the Lord delivered the king of the elephants. O best of Kuru dynasty, those who bear this narration become fit to be promoted to the higher planetary system. Simply by hearing this narration, they gain a reputation as devotees. They are unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga, and they never see bad dreams. Therefore, after getting up from bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, especially the Brahmanas such as Vaishyas, and in particular the Brahmana Vaishnava, should chant this narration as it is without deviation to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. And then Prabhu goes on to describe how sometimes a guru who accepts a disciple and then that disciple misbehaves, the way, or he accepts the karma of that disciple's fall down, then it's in the form of bad dreams on the subtle plane. But, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I'm sure most of us have experienced bad dreams, and so here's a solution to that. You won't have to experience any bad dreams. Just think of this pastime. That's the whole. And here, Brahma starts off by saying, in the beginning of the end of the last chapter, going into this, he's saying, if you just, I want to hear these activities because it counteracts the foul matters accumulated in my ear. My ear's got a lot of junk in it, wax. I want to clean it out. And the way to clean out your ear, the way to clean out your mind, your heart, is hearing these pastimes. Making an attempt to... I'm getting Charlie horse. What do you do about Charlie horses? And so... but here, there's so many other angles to this that here, the thing is that he's having a distressful moment, like Mother Draupadi. But you have Kunti, who's praying for distressful moments. Because she says, during those moments, that's when I have no choice but to think of you. Who else am I going to think of? No one else is going to help me. Only you. And actually, we're all in that state all the time. All the time. Even when we think we've got it made, that's when you really don't. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I just thought there's a few other things, but I can't think of it right now. So anyone have any questions or comments or realizations? Yes?
Beautiful, beautiful pastime. I'm so happy that you accepted it and you embraced it.
Where's Bhakta Alex?
Huh?
Where's Bhakta Alex?
Where's
It's
Bhakta?
reminding me seeing you there. Thinking Bhakta Alex, Sri Devi.
Yeah, where are they? Where are they?
He's
Where are
supposed to
they
be-
now?
He was supposed to
He
be here
knows.
2 weeks ago.
Gora Karuna knows.
Wasn't he supposed to be here 2 weeks, 3
He
weeks
was,
ago?
but he called me and he said that he couldn't make it because he had developed 101 temperature
Oh.
and was going to lay rest, and then his parents took him
To
back.
India.
Yeah,
He went to India.
yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's with the traveling.
Anyway, so your question, Mataji?
No, not really question. I was just enchanted, just listening to the pastime by Krishna's mercy, Prabhupada's mercy. You really immersed us into the whole pastime and the beautiful description of the Trikuta mountain. I mean, it just was like you
It's
were
nothing.
there.
When you
you know?
read it, though, it's much. I believe me, I sounded like a dumb man talking
No.
compared to what you read. The descriptions of the garden, the descriptions of all the different animals, the description of the atmosphere. Another thing is these goddesses, these demigoddesses, their bodies, like here in this world, we have to use, like men have to use deodorant and aftershave, and women use the various perfumes. But their bodies are fragrant.
Right.
And they go into the water, and the water becomes fragrant. And that fragrance is then carried by the wind, and the wind becomes fragrant. Gaura Karuna?
Well, I was just going to say, I remember when we started to give class, wonderful class, thank you.
Thanks.
The very
Thank you.
first
Prabhupada.
lecture I ever heard was this story.
Oh,
Wow.
By Radha
Well-
who ended up becoming.
Well, he can definitely give you a more.
What
He's much more measured. Is not in a rush. He's got more. He's more absorbed in the
But it was one
pastimes.
of his shorter classes. It was only
Really?
2.5 hours. And I would also like to say, happy birthday.
Oh, there you had to go there. Oh no.
Oh,
Same
happy
few
birthday.
words.
What? No, actually, I've been thinking that, doesn't mean I'm going to act on this realization necessarily, but I've been thinking that actually the whole concept in the West that when we have a birthday, we think, oh, well, you're now the center of the universe. You're the center of everybody's attention, and you're king for the day or queen for the day. And there used to be a TV show called Queen for a Day.
Yeah.
And so...
You
But
gotta watch
actually,
this.
it should be that now that you've taken a human birth, now you should be doing good for yourself and for others. So especially on my birthday, I should be doing something good for others.
So
You
what
did. You really
So
did.
it is Tenet Hare Krishna. Yeah, I just,
So what did you get me?
I gave you the Bhagavatam class, but made a humble attempt at giving you money to go to Tennessee. Colleen's actually giving me money. So
Really?
he's going up there to get it. Nichikoris actually, listen to this. Nichikoris said that he'll pay for him to deliver the brick machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just one.
Yes.
I was just going to say it's a wonderful class, thank you, and that reminded me, I feel caught thinking, I've been assuming this is just an eloquent story, we have these, until we really read the Bhagavatam, I keep forgetting how wonderful every single story is.
And it's almost like not just story, but every line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as I was reading the verse, I was thinking like there's certain things in the verse that each line was a new. You could build a class on one line. I'm trying to remember what it was. And just cut the pieces. The crocodile saved the elephant. The elephant. Right now, it's not coming back to me. But every line, and the other thing is in the purport, Prabhupada's talking about, and Vaikuntha is trying to give us the sense of the scope of creation. But Krishna's in the heart. He like with Dhruva Maharaj, he was in deep meditation on the form of the Lord, and then the meditation broke because he couldn't see him, so he opened his eyes and now he's standing in front of him. But at the same time, it's true that, you know, the Lord is far away and he can hear you from here. And Prabhupada used to say, and I always feel this, I remember, you know, always thinking, when I was on Harinam, you know, when I first joined, that was our principal engagement. Yeah, I felt like we had like an antenna, and we were picking up the spiritual sky. And we were bringing the sound vibration from Vaikuntha here into this plane, terrestrial plane. And we were benefiting, but also they were hearing us. You know, I really felt, I always felt, no matter what would happen, and we would get attacked a lot. You know, there was a lot of physical assaults on devotees. I personally was hit by a 2x4 once, but it grazed off my shoulder.
Was it a Christian?
That was my mom.
No, it was, he was just a street person amongst the, you know, it was on Peachtree Street. There used to be like a little hippie enclave, but it had slowly, by the early 70s, become kind of like, you know, the beginnings of, you know, they were almost starting to become like derelicts or, you know, down and out homeless people. And there was a place called the Crisis Center, and we would distribute prasadam there. And unfortunately, as things went along, the neighbors moved out, and the people that moved into those locations were strip clubs. And that's a long story. But anyway, one night, I was alone there distributing prasadam, just sitting chanting. And all the people there knew me and liked me, or liked the devotees. And especially, actually the one guy that was sort of like the hippie guru, who was very inimical in the beginning, became very favorable. So much so that he actually, I don't remember his name, but he became active with Food for Life here in New Orleans and in San Francisco back in the 70s. And I got to ask you again, I've been meaning to ask him if he remembers him. But he was a tall fellow, and so he became active in that. But so I was, this one guy didn't know what was going on, and he didn't realize that everybody else had my back. And I had my eyes closed, and he was telling me to stop chanting. I just ignored him. And he took a 2x4, it grazed my shoulder, and then hit my head. I went out for a few seconds. And when I came to, they were like ready to tear him apart. I said, it's okay, it's okay. I'll leave now, but here's the prasadam. So, but there were a lot of things like that. One time, a fellow came out of the strip club, and he was famous for his rage. His two partners said that whenever he reached this stage of rage, there was no turning him back. Someone would be seriously injured or unconscious, blood, lots of blood, or broken bones. And he was coming at us hard. And he took one of the devotees, and we're standing chanting, like there's 2 rows. Maybe there was about, I don't know, 15 of us or so, something like that. 12, 15. And we're standing like that, and it was disturbing. It wasn't disturbing the strippers. They liked us because they said they were being treated better. But the guys in the club were disturbed by the transcendental sound vibration. And he came out and grabbed one of the devotees by the shoulder and headbutted really hard. So we just immediately went into Namaste Nashingaya, really blasting it out, really intensely. No fear. This guy's like, and we just keep chanting and chanting and chanting. And all of a sudden you could just see him just like color red, sort of, and gradually, slowly, all the blood draining out of his face, and started turning pale, and he just withered up. And his friends came up to us afterwards and said, "What was that? What were you singing? We've never seen I've never seen him change. Once he reaches that point, he's going to hurt somebody bad. What did you do? What is that mantra?" And we explained it to them. So there were a lot of things like that. So, but the point is, though, is that what I was really trying to say is that most of the time, though, you really felt, even if you were being laughed at, you really didn't care because you really feel like you are connected to Vaikuntha. You are a mobile satellite antenna to the bringing in the spiritual world into this mundane plane. And that's what's happening. So, yeah, Harinam, Prishni.
Yeah.
She's the heroine here. She's the, yeah.
Can I go? Oh, you go.
Oh, so I was just saying, I read it, I was reading in Brahma Samhita this morning, the first few verses that are words like quadrangle and quadrantal and hexagonal and like that. And it was actually describing the 3/4 and 1/4 of reality, the spiritual world and the material world, that they could see material world Gokula from Goloka. As in mysterious, because there's none different, they can actually see. And that's where the rumors of demons come from. But then I was thinking, actually we're told that wherever we have the deities, wherever we're chanting, it's Vaikuntha. So they can see, so it's amazing to think they can maybe see us, you know, as if...
Did you ever hear well, this is what I found fascinating about this recent celebration in Atlanta with Bhagavatam Maharaj, because they had made a cake, just like one I had had in a dream back in the early 80s. This was one of those transcendental experiences where you knew you weren't really dreaming. And so the scene is the first time all of the God brothers, God sisters are together, and we're having like a big Mayapur festival in the spiritual sky. And everybody is there. You know, Prabhupada is there, Shyam Sundar's there, everybody but Mr. Nair. The guy that Prabhupada said in the letter. And I was thinking, in the dream, someone says it or something. And this kirtan just struck, we know we're all together and we're finally going to be with Prabhupada for the first time together. And the kirtan, everyone is just swaying and nobody's feet are touching the ground. And you could look down and see the spiritual, the material world, and it seemed, you know, like these people were like, you know, cat-like jivas, just covered in suffering. And, you know, you felt great compassion for them. But up here, everything was just sublime. And so the Prabhupada comes out, and he sits on this beautiful asana, and there's a big curtain over here, and it's multicolored, and it slowly, very poetically kind of, you know, opens up. And there's these steps that are very broad.
Is this a dream you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're very broad steps. I wrote it in a Vyas Puja, and it was they're very broad, sort of like an onyx or clear marble. And the steps aren't very high, they're very broad. And there's several of Prabhupada's disciples who, you know, like Shuddhakirti, or what's the one who wrote the diaries? I forget his name. Sorry. You know, all of them are carrying this huge cake. And on the cake are all the temples in the material world. And like here. And you can see, you can look in to the temple building, you could look into it and see all the devotees sitting down having a class or having a kirtan on the cake.
Wow!
And that's what they did for Jayapataka Maharaj. They made a cake of Mayapur in the shape of a lotus flower. And then on each petal, they had various projects that he started with pictures of those projects. It was so cool, I couldn't believe it. I said, wow, this is my dream.
Wow.
The only difference in this case, we actually did cut the cake and eat it. And the other one, we didn't. Nobody wanted to take any of the cake. We just wanted to add to it or decorate it. Anyway. You know what? My grandchildren are supposed to be calling me. I gotta go. Sorry.
Haribo.
Haribo.